हेलो 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 हेलो। चलो भाई अपनी किंगडम कम डिलीवरेंस कंटिन्यू करें। इससे बात करनी थी मुझे, कहाँ गया?
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
The words mean nothing to me. Ask in the library.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Celerius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
इस बंदे को अभी मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि यही है वो पायस, क्योंकि प्रूफ नहीं है मेरे पे। मेरा सारा सामान गया क्या? हाँ, सारा सामान गया। Find out which one of the novice pious kill pious. Dun, dun, dun. यहाँ है कुछ, टॉर्च भी नहीं है मेरे पे। लॉक पिक भी नहीं है ना। ये कौन है?
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. But I've no time for idle chat. I transcribe books from dawn till dusk. I've been doing it for years and I'll be doing it till the day I die.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now, brother, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this page finished. Praise be to Christ.
I'd like to ask about...
Can't you see I'm working?
कर ले भाई, काम कर
Forbidden
ले।
books must be in that cabinet.
ये कैबिनेट,
Written by the dead
चाबी तो है मेरे पास। ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा। अच्छा ये
Get
तो
away
वही।
from my cabinet. The books stored in there aren't for your eyes to see.
ठीक है भाई, मेरे ख्याल से वही है जिसमें मैंने वो चुराई थी, बुक ऑफ नेक्रोमक ऐसे कुछ जो थी। चलो यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं है। या खून पड़ा हुआ है यहाँ पे, खून क्या कर रहा है भाई? ये खाने वाली जगह, यहाँ पे भी कोई नहीं है। मोनेस्ट्री एक्सप्लोर करनी पड़ेगी। यहाँ भी कोई नहीं है।
Peace be with you, brother.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
Soon be solved. It's a wonder the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning. Then he'd soon get his man.
Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. Who are you, though? Oh, it's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
What are you talking about? You clearly know something I don't.
I'm telling you, keep your eye on him. He's no monk. That's what my gut tells me. And my gut's never wrong. What are you going to do to that fellow once you
Siskin,
find him?
That's not your concern.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it. Not act on your own.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
The same question है।
Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
भाग्य बोले उंडो monk कौन सी जगह है?
You mean after the Tamba?
Trespassing.
Is that right?
There was a great big battle. Them fuckers filled the whole of Pribyslavitz. The Talmberg garrison had to get reinforcements to beat them. There's wounded lying at Talmberg now, and plenty new graves in Ushitz. But they cleared that wasp's nest good and proper.
If you say so. But I still reckon we haven't seen the last of it. That Sigismund is still on the rampage, attacking the nobles one by one across the land. And brigands are like weeds. Burn them down, and they just sprout up somewhere else. That's not the half of it. What about the attack on Murhayet? While the lords are dealing with one lot of marauders in Privoslavets, there's another bunch pillaging somewhere else. There'll be no peace as long as Sigismund goes on ransacking Bohemia, sure as the sun circles the earth.
You know how to lift a fella's spirits.
Circuitous Trevor.
Peace be with you, brother.
I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during ceremony. I have
भाई
the feeling
इसमें
we'll be meeting again
ये सारे
soon.
एनपीसी
And
काफी
after.
सारे
You
एनपीसी
see, I'm the
के इन्होंने
circuit.
फेस सेम
What does
रख
that
रखे हैं.
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything's the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always traveling, and on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Then we elect a new one.
Are there any candidates to be the new abbot?
Yes, there are. Brothers John and Nevlas, cursed elections. Since the brothers began talking about them, there's only been strife in the monastery. On one side are brothers who'd like to see John as abbot. On the other, those who support Nevlas, and they seem to be capable of fighting about it forever.
Tell me about John.
John is the circator and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crozier from Peter. He has experience, merit, and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure, his faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
Why does it matter so much who wins?
Because the future direction of the monastery hangs in the balance. The younger brothers feel they have to work more than their superior brothers, and that some brothers are more concerned with their own comfort than with worshipping God. The older brothers take a different view. They say the younger monks want privileges they haven't earned, and each side has its own candidate.
I thought politics weren't part of the monastic way of life.
You're right, but we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decisions can influence our entire life. Some of the brothers take it very personally.
Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
I understand. Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, Saint Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world beyond the monastery walls is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue and the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged through the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
It was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time, but then the order was restored and brothers of the truth faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior and the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, and many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the circuitors. They're the ones who maintain discipline
ये भी तो
and
circuiter
punish
ही है.
bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager. Perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hardworking and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You have everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
The old abbot isn't dead yet. It's too early to talk about elections. But if I had to choose between the two who are already putting themselves forward, John would be my choice.
जॉन को 2 वोट मिल गए.
Servus.
ब्रदर नेवलस, ब्रदर
Servus.
नेवलस से मैंने बात कर ली थी ना.
Salve. Be well.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that, they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help. What do you need me to do?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now, you know, most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. No one will notice it.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Salarius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Salarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
I'm interested in the
You're not alone. Everyone's...
Why? What's wrong with it?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs.
यार डायलॉग तो हो गया था ना.
I'd be interested to know more about Brother John.
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's nothing but an old schemer and pedant who preaches water but drinks wine. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't call an end to their debauchery.
Why do you want to become abbot?
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church, and I can't deny there's truth in what they say. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and esteem to the monastery.
That's all. Thank you.
Peace be with you, brother.
Ah, this looks like the Saracen.
What troubles you?
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favor?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower?
Hello,
and shout,
Mudassir
"Vote for
Khan,
Neville,
bhai.
vote for
Welcome to the
Neville"?
stream.
Not exactly. You do
AC
have an
Shadow
opponent.
खेलोगे क्या आने वाला है वो?
John.
AC
John
Shadow
isn't my opponent. He's my brother.
मेरे PC में चलेगा
Just
नहीं.
like you and everyone else here. We're all
वो भी
brothers in
stream पे.
Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity
अभी
here
तो
at
मेरे
the
को AC
monastery.
वाला खेलनी है.
I'd be interested to hear
अगर वो
of
चल गई
anything
तो
I
वही
don't know
बहुत
about.
बड़ी बात हो जाएगी.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out
मेरे
what I
पीसी
can.
स्पेक्स लो
Thank
है
you,
ना,
brother.
मतलब इस आज के टाइम के लिए लो हैं, आज की गेम्स के लिए। मैंने डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल रखे हैं अपने पीसी स्पेक्स, तो वही सीन है, वरना खेलने का मन तो मेरा भी है।
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can do for you in return?
How can a novice get out of the monastery?
I'd be interested in finding out the background of the other novices.
That's a strange wish you have. And the only ones who know everything about the novices are the abbot and the prior. They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior's study.
Thanks. You've helped me immensely.
No, thank you.
Prior study.
About that book, don't even think about breaking in to get it.
कोई नहीं, अब तो मेरी है वो बुक। और लूकस तो भी रुक,
I'm Gregor,
इससे ही
novice.
पूछो भाई।
I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
लूकस ही है क्या? पायस।
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him.
मेरे को यही
I've
लग रहा है
never
भाई
asked about
कि
him.
नया बंदा है शायद।
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
लूकस ही है क्या भाई? पायस।
I'm telling you.
इसको नहीं बताऊंगा। सर्च फॉर पायस वाला।
What am I saying? Creeping. He was stomping
ये अपने बारे में बता नहीं रहा ना कुछ।
That must have been Brother Circator. He can't sleep and prays long into the night.
If you could, who would you vote for to be the abbot?
But I can't vote, so what's the point of worry? Ask Antonius.
हाँ, ये कौन है? सिस्किन, इससे बात करनी थी ना?
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me, in a monastery. took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself. Especially the part about the coin.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big, terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times, I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
I'll leave you be. Don't worry, I won't follow you again.
Thank you.
You're right.
And please, Gregor,
Wine barrel.
don't mention it to anyone.
And it's not the first time.
रख ले भाई, पैसे बहुत हैं मेरे पे, मेरे को ढूंढने नहीं निकलना है इसके पैसों को.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
I'm interested in Yodok.
What could interest you about him? He's a no-good rat. He'll turn you in for the price of a turnip. I'd bet my life that if he wasn't here, he'd be a cumin scout, bowing and scraping for a few groschen.
That doesn't sound too flattering.
It wasn't meant to. No matter what you do here, watch out for him. He's got his eye on everyone, and he'll rat on you for even the slightest of infractions.
What can you tell me about Lucas?
It's a tricky situation with Lucas. No one really knows anything about him. I've tried so many times to talk to him, but he always backs away like a virgin on a wedding night.
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
There's something I should tell you. Something you won't be happy to hear. I'm here to find someone and, well, to do away with him. But listen, it's not murder. Not when it's a man like him. He's one of the brigands who burned down Neuhof. He doesn't deserve to live.
What's he doing here? And who are you?
They call him pious because he used to be a priest. When he found out a lot of people were after him, he hid away here. And as you can see, escaped suspicion. They sent me here to find him and bring him to justice. He's one of the novices.
So we have one outlaw and one assassin in our midst. This place is a lot more exciting than I expected. Do you know who it is?
Well, that's just it. I suspect Lucas.
He certainly says little enough, and he keeps himself to himself. I could well believe he's hiding something, but not that he's a killer.
I suspect it could be Yodok.
Do you know that occurred to me too? Yodok's a scoundrel and a cheat. I believe he'd be capable of anything.
I won't tell you more, and I'd like you to keep silent about this too.
You're talking about killing in the monastery. I really should report it.
Would you do that? I have a feeling you wouldn't.
You're right. I'll keep it to myself. I've got problems enough of my own without involving myself in yours. And besides, I mean to be gone from here within a year, so why should I care what happens with the monastery?
Thank you, Siskin. I appreciate it.
हाँ और कोई मॉन्ग वॉन्ग बचा है? कौन सी जगह है भाई? एंटोनियस ये
What
तो वही
troubles
है
you?
ना? तो घूम घाम के वहीं आ गया. सर्केटर जॉन, ये है जॉन बुड्ढा.
What would you like?
About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevertheless is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevertheless is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
I'd like to help you if I can.
There is something you could do. I'm convinced Nevlas must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlas is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
Once I find something out, I'll tell you. Thank you for answering. I'd like to ask...
I feel quite hungry.
You're right.
मोनेस्ट्री में खाना कहाँ मिलेगा भाई? एंटोनियस ने बोला योडोक हो सकता है. योडोक ने बोला सिस्किन हो सकता है. सिस्किन ने बोला योडोक हो सकता है. कोई लूकस का नाम नहीं ले रहा है. कोई तो यही है. अब भाई टॉर्च निकाल ले भाई, अंधेरा हो इतना हो गया. बी कौन सा मार कर आ रहा है? गो टू बेड। अच्छा बेड किधर था? इधर लाइब्रेरी आ गई। बेड 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 बेड।
Today's food. What do they do in that kitchen? I bet they keep the tastiest morsels for themselves and give us the slop that's left over.
अच्छा खाना बट रहा है क्या? किचन यहाँ पे है ना, दे दो भाई खाना। खा भी लिया इन लोगों ने, बताया भी नहीं। मेरा बेड कौन सा? यही है क्या? ये है मेरे ख्याल से। ऊपर ऊपर सो वैसा बेड तो उनके लिए होगा, नोविस के लिए तो नीचे ही होगा। यही होगा। ये क्या सीन है? ये नहीं है क्या बेड मेरा? यही है क्या? You are neglecting your daily schedule। कैसे? अरे भाई जल्दी उठना था क्या ज़्यादा?
Can't you see we are at mass?
मैं क्या करूं?
This is not a good time for questions, brother.
Damn it, I'm hungry.
अबे ये कौन है? प्रायर। खड़े रहना क्या? meet with the others.
I'm a new brother, a novice, Gregor. I don't know my way around here yet. You're in charge of the whole monastery, aren't you?
Welcome amongst us. Yes, yes. The Lord wanted me to take over the abbot's duties in his absence, but mainly I'm a servant of God, just like you and all the other brethren. Before God, there's no difference between us. How do you like it here?
I don't know yet. Haven't been here long.
Well, you're too humble. I'm sure you must have some opinion, but I won't pry it out of you.
I've heard you keep records of all the novices.
Yes, I do. Personal records detailing their past lives which are none of your business. Just as it's no one else's business that you deflowered your liege lord's daughter. What is it?
I'd like to ask you something about the... Will you tell me something about how the abbot is elected?
Of course. Abbot Peter is old, and we're afraid he'll soon be with our Heavenly Father. When he's gone, someone else will have to lead the monastery. All the elder brothers will assemble to choose who that is.
Anyone can become the abbot?
Precisely. We have two candidates, Nevlas and John. As the spiritual shepherd of all of the brothers here, I'm not allowed to publicly express a preference for either. And as a novice, you shouldn't be involved in the election. I know that some brothers have already begun scheming, but don't even think about getting mixed up in it. With the blessing of the Holy Spirit, all will end up as it should be.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Let him not love one more than another.
बैठ भी गया था मेरा खाना खाया हो रहा
And let him not shut his eyes.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
But since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the
गलत बैठ गया क्या
as
मैं
soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silas, the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard, proud and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments. Knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent...
What is it, brother?
But demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that more is shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but since he has the authority, let him cut out the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill by stripes and other bodily...
What is it, brother?
Knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds.
Talk to me, brother.
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
There appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere, from the garden to the refectory.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
The rule of Saint Ben...
What troubles you?
I found a few pages of the torn-up book, but I still don't have them all.
Wonderful. Keep looking then. I'm sure you can find the rest.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet said.
Talk to me, brother.
I'd like to...
The more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of
Talk to me.
silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that, they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests.
That's all.
Peace be with you.
And for such conversation we do not...
What is it, brother?
Is there any way I could...
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower?
Not exactly.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
That doesn't sound like something I can do.
Pity. And I thought you wanted to help.
What would you like?
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
What is it?
What do you desire?
Brother, I've a favour to ask, and I think you're the man to help me with it. Or you used to be, before you came here.
I see. So it's the dodgy sort of favor, is it?
Well, yes. I need to get hold of the keys to the monastery.
That won't be easy, I can tell you that straight off. The prior always keeps the keys close by him. So how exactly do you imagine I could help?
How could I get hold of them?
With great difficulty. Unless you want to rob the prior.
Salve, be well.
Could you take the keys off him?
Rob the prior? You've got to be joking.
You wouldn't be doing it for free?
Then what could you possibly pay me? I'm done with my thieving, and you'd have to offer me a whole lot of groschen to change my mind.
How much would you want?
A princely sum, brother. This is no trifling matter.
That much? Where am I supposed to find that much coin? No one here has any money.
Precisely. But no groschen, no theft. And think twice before you ask me that kind of favor again.
You have some interesting skills for a monk. Don't suppose you want to tell me how you picked them up?
What's there to tell? We were all young and foolish once. I was a student in Prague, completely broke, living from hand to mouth and studying all day. It wasn't an easy life.
So you turned to stealing?
I set about securing a livelihood as best I could. A goose, some new shoes, a bit of coin to spend with my friends. Without that little bit extra, I'd never have completed my studies. I would have turned into a beggar. And who else do you know that can say he's serving God thanks to having been a thief?
No one, brother. Thank you for telling me your story.
Brother, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working somewhere? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
I definitely was there. I did come a little late, so perhaps no one noticed me.
Really? This time I'll look the other way. But next time you won't get out of being punished.
अरे भाई
You've got a strong constitution. Anyone else would have certainly died.
What happened?
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy. He was lost and miserable. He had no future. He was tempted by his friends into doing some foolish things, but he wasn't truly bad, because when it came down to it, he ran away rather than keep doing foolish deeds. His former friends didn't take kindly to that, though, and wanted to punish him. So they sent a hunting dog to find him and rip his throat. The boy wasn't stupid, though, and he knew that the hound was coming. He poisoned some food, and when the hound showed up, he gave it to him. He didn't expect the beast to live, but it did. And all of a sudden, the boy was sorry for what he tried to do. So he offered to make a bargain with the hound.
अरे भाई यही है क्या?
It was you that poisoned me.
Don't take it personally. Kill or be killed. You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhoff. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhoff made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
What if I wanted a different option?
You could kill another novice, I suppose. If news of the murder got out from the monastery, my former friends might believe I'm dead. But I'm offering you a solution that doesn't require any killing. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow, that sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Do you mean these keys?
What? I'm not going to ask you how you got your hands on those, you devious lad.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it. All the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
What is it, brother?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Today it's your task to concoct 2 potions to aid digestion. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Ah, Gregor.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices. What would you like?
What do you want me to...
I'd be interested to hear about any iniquity in the monastery. I need to...
What would you like?
What was I supposed to get again?
Christ almighty! How many holes do you have in that head of yours? The keys to the monastery and the goat skin of blood. The keys are the most important, or at least some lockpicks.
एक मिनट लॉक पिक में यहीं से ना ले लूँ घोड़ा बुला के कहाँ गया मेरा सामान यहाँ है क्या
Brother, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working so...
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? This time I'll look the other way.
Brother, this isn't a place for you.
allowed here.
अरे भाई ये रात में आना पड़ेगा क्या अरे ड्यूटी किस ड्यूटी की बात करा कर तो ली मैंने
Talk to me, brother.
I'd like to ask... Are there ever any disagreements between...
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrel right now are about the
I understand. Who would you like...
Well, the old abbot isn't dead yet. It's too early to talk about elections. What do you...
What's troubled?
I found a few.
Wander.
Salve, be well.
What troubles you?
I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it. You call that a copy? You've completely ruined the parchment with your scribbling. What trouble?
brother. You were somewhere you shouldn't have been. Don't you know your place? Don't you know where you're permitted to enter and where your presence is forbidden?
I've had enough of this. You'll never put me in seclusion.
You dare resist punishment? Let me...
I apologize.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate anything that's...
While I was locked up, someone was making quite a racket in the cellar. Blind drunk, I'm sure of it. I wonder what's been going on.
What is it, brother?
Salve Domine. What would you like?
Brother, this isn't a place for you.
Can't you see we are a mass? Not now, brother.
So much the more punished with sin because avoid evil works.
Brother?
Therefore, since the
You were somewhere you shouldn't have been. Don't you know?
should rarely be granted even
Very well, brother.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate any...
Salve. Be well.
Talk to me, brother.
I have everything we need for the escape.
Excellent. Straight after Vespers, we'll meet in the dormitory. We'll have to get it all done before the monks have finished dinner.
What exactly is your plan? And why can't we do it at night?
We're going to prepare a little riddle they'll never solve. And why at mealtime? Because we need the dormitory as well as the church to be empty. Then at night we'll escape. Do you follow? Take everything with you and don't forget the keys.
Good. Once evening mass ends, I'll be in the dormitory.
fourth hour.
God be with
From
you.
the fourth hour until about the sixth, let them apply themselves to reading. After the sixth hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the eighth hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned
Praise
a
be-
task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them with driving.
Brother, what are you doing?
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? Fine.
What trouble?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Ah.
I finished my work.
Show me what you... Spectacular, Gregor. You've... Salve, you will.
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax hominibus bonet voluntatis.
What is it?
I'm here to work.
Excellent.
I can...
Praise be to God. For a moment there, I was worried you weren't coming. Give me that blood. This is the exact spot where you pushed me off the gallery. And here's where you dragged my lifeless body. Thank you for helping me out. Now we must each go our own way.
I was glad to help. I did what I needed to do and no one got killed. What will you do now?
Now, get the hell out of here. Steal the first horse I come across and ride until dawn, far, far away from here. I was thinking... Here, take this. Show it to those cutthroat bastards and tell them you found it on me. That should convince them. Especially when they hear about the outcry here after the fires found out we've gone.
Your lucky die?
In a manner of speaking. Hope it brings you more luck than it brought me. Thank you. Thank you for letting me live, Brother Gregor.
My name's Henry.
All right, Brother Henry. May God be with you.
Aren't you meant to be in the monastery?
Yeah.
Monk's got no business out here.
Yeah.
Jesus, not as shallow as it looks.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This looks like the place they were talking about.
Morning, sunshine. Hope we didn't wake you.
Kurva! Did you have to sneak up on me like thieves?
We are thieves. Besides, we had to make sure you weren't followed. Or trying to lead us into a trap. But enough of this chit-chat. Let's get down to business. We heard there was some trouble at the monastery. Question is, was it the right sort? Did you do that job we agreed?
Do you think I'd be sitting here if I didn't do it?
How should I know? The world's full of idiots.
It's done.
You've got proof?
He had this on him.
Aye. That says alright. What did you do with the body?
I left it where it was. What else could I do?
So, they lose a monk and find a corpse. How long do you reckon it'll take them to put two and two together?
Well, it's not like I was planning to make a career in Rome.
Fair enough. Soon it won't matter anyway.
What now?
What now? You did your job. Welcome. We need people like you.
But what do you need people like me to do?
I'm just the crimp. All I do is recruit. Now you get to go to our camp and find out everything you need to know.
Where?
Are you seriously telling me you didn't know it's the camp? Not too observant, are you? Well, there's a hill above Sasau, and on top there's an old abandoned fort. Only it's not as abandoned as it used to be. That's where the camp is. Go there and report to a fellow by the name of Eric. Tell him Kozliak sent you.
And they'll let me in just like that?
Good point. I almost forgot. At the gate, show them the special die you took off Pius. That's our sign.
That's all?
That's all. You'll learn everything you need to know at Vranik. And hurry up. I've got a feeling there's something being planned.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, I have news, and I'm sorry to say it's nothing good.
After everything that's happened, you have even worse news. That's almost impressive.
I'm afraid so. It's going to happen again, and on an even bigger scale.
You're full of good cheer, aren't you? What exactly will happen?
It seems the Pribyslavitz encampment was just the start, and they're far from defeated.
How did you find out?
I found a recruiting agent who works for them, and let him recruit me.
Ah, God's holy hat. You never cease to surprise me, lad.
And what did you find out?
They have another much bigger encampment in Vranyk near to Sasau.
What do those bastards want? And who the hell are they?
To hurt us? Conquer the region? I'm not sure yet, but I can find out.
How?
I'm one of them now. I have their secret sign. I know where their camp is. All I have to do is go and take a look.
That's out of the question. It's too risky.
Sire, compared to everything I went through to get this, it will be child's play. I already passed their test. They trust me.
Then we'll have to attack them before things get out of hand. Ideally, right now, when they're not expecting us. Once we catch that mangy little shit, we can ask him nicely what he wants. But then again, before we attack, it would be useful to have a spy go and scout out how many of them there are and what they're up to.
I don't want you to take any unnecessary risks.
It's much less risky than our raid on Pribyslavitz.
All right then, Hal. Go there and find out how many of them there are, and what their plans are, whatever you can. But don't stick your neck out too far.
Yes, sir.
Godspeed, lad.
Yeah!
God save you, Henry!
About the tourney, sir. I'm afraid I didn't manage to enroll. Sorry.
I know you didn't, because Hanush didn't see you there, and now he's out for my blood.
My apologies, I was too busy.
Really? Doing what exactly?
Well, I was training with different kinds of weapons. Swords, polearms, maces, so as not to disgrace you.
All right, fair enough. I'm glad you're putting some effort into it. I'll tell the old man you needed a little more time. You'd better not miss the next one, though.
Don't worry. You can count on me. I delivered the things as you asked.
I already know. My spies told me everything. She was wearing the necklace this morning, as I asked in the letter.
So you'll go to the rendezvous with her?
Certainly not. I'm not going to pounce on her like a bull in rutting season. Her feelings must be allowed to mature gradually. Meanwhile, you'll get a potion for me.
I thought you didn't believe in witches' brews.
This is no witch's brew. It's an absolutely tried and tested elixir called Musk of Infinite Allure. There's a fellow in Sasau who sells it, and he guarantees its success.
Musk of Infinite Allure? Sounds irresistible. All right, I'll try and get it for you.
I'm sure I can rely on you. Here's some coin for your costs.
Yeah. Have you read it already?
Oh, Henry, it's a marvellous book. Wonderful, really. I've found what we need, but it won't be easy. The spell must be said over the grave of the person preventing his soul from resting in eternal peace, while burning something from the house he lived in.
Ugh, of course. It couldn't be something easy, could it?
Who said meddling with the dead would be a walk in a rose garden? You'll probably have to ask your widow a few more questions. Once you know everything, get something from his house, and find the grave of the person that's preventing him from resting in peace. Then come see me, and we'll get to banishing that ghost.
Jesus. And I thought the living were troublesome.
Hosts baked in the temple of Jerusalem.
Well, well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess. You saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
But I had a divine revelation. That next time I won't be around to pull you out of the shit.
Oh, well, I am sorry. But these things are sent to try our fortitude in the face of adversity.
I'd like to try your fortitude.
Good health.
Would you teach?
Certainly.
I'm interested.
Wouldn't you?
Well, would you teach me more about alchemy?
Certainly.
Well, will you teach?
Certainly.
I'd like to.
First, you have.
Well, I've heard you know of some irresistibility potion or whatever it is.
Ah, naturally. Musk of infinite allure. An age-old recipe, maybe even older. Tested by Moses himself.
Moses?
How do you think he managed to get his people to follow him through the desert for 40 years? It's extremely potent.
Yeah, so it would seem. How much do you want for it?
Who do you take me for? The wisdom of the ancients isn't something that's bought and sold in the marketplace. Did Jesus charge for his miracles? But since you ask, how about this much?
What? That much? You're a crook.
As King Solomon said, honesty is for those who can afford it. If you like, I can mix the elixir for you in exchange for a small favor.
Oh, not again.
Now, is that any tone to use with your master? For shame.
Apologies, Master. I was carried away by my thirst for knowledge.
I understand your impatience, but the way to wisdom is narrow and arduous.
And leads out the window. About that rest...
Yes.
So what is it you want from me now?
Ah, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I were some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls. And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sasau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead, returned from the grave. A corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
A silver arrowhead through the skull?
Novel, but it would certainly be a lucrative trade. You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sasau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
But that's a sin.
Refusing to help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
My conscience is clear where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
The grave is not in hallowed ground, so that's hardly worth one Lord's Prayer and penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
I'll need a spade, then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sasau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the Revenant.
I might have known any task for Capon would turn into some insane escapade. Grave robbing. Jesus.
Farewell.
Yeah. I saw the apothecary and he reckons that ghost of yours is quite a problem.
You think I don't know that? Last night, I didn't get a wink of sleep. I lay in my bed, tossing and turning, just waiting for him to appear.
And did he come?
For a long while, it seemed like nothing would happen. Then, towards the morning, the room grew cold as the grave. My poor heart nearly stopped beating when I heard a voice calling my name. So I fell to my knees and begged the Virgin Mary to protect me. When will this all end? You must work quickly. If this goes on much longer, I'll lose my mind. I know I will.
For the spell, I'll need something from the house where the spirit once lived. Where exactly did Alois live?
It's north of here, to the left of the road from Ledechko. But there's not much left of it these days except ash and weeds. The farm was burned to the ground with Alois inside.
Oh, that must have been a terrible death. To get rid of him, we need to cast a spell over the grave of the person who's preventing him resting in peace. I'm not sure who that person is, though. You haven't already picked out a grave site for yourself, have you?
No. Henry, the truth is, I haven't told you the whole story. I'm not the one he's got unfinished business with.
Well, who is it then? I suggest you tell me everything.
Alois had a wife. Her name was Lada, and she was a proper shrew, shrieking at him from sunrise to sunset. He never spent a single pleasant day with her. They must have fought like dogs. One night, Lada took a lantern and burned the whole farmhouse down with Alois inside.
Another reason not to get married. Or to treat your wife kindly if you do. So, I should try and find Lada's grave, is that right?
You said yourself you need to find the person preventing his spirit from resting in peace. When Alois died, Lada lost her mind. She spent days running about the woods near Tarnberg, completely witless, until one day they found her body deep in the woods. Her hair was all pulled out, her face scratched up with her own fingernails. They buried her there, where they found her, but I don't know exactly where to look.
I'll ask around. I don't need to know anything else. I can head off now. Yeah. Everything burned to the ground. So where can I find something that belonged to the dead? I'll take some of these pieces of charred wood. That should do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
He was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. And he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough, they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Well, I can understand him. To watch your family suffer like that. What could he do when they were going hungry?
If we'd known how badly off they was, folk would have helped out. But he kept his troubles to himself.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Ledetchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him.
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
God have mercy on their souls.
Amen.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day he parted ways with God forever, and he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself, nor us either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Sorry, good wife. Let's leave it be.
Thanks, lad.
God be with you.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. Ugh. He was from Ledechko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
The question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
Huh. I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Well, her conscience is still troubled on account of her man, and she feels haunted. This won't help her much.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, I want to help her.
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original. But it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
Well, what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how would I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
Whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help.
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
All right. I'll sell them to you.
Splendid. Revenant bones. They'll be very useful indeed. Take care now.
Okay. Jeez. What are you up to here?
God preserve you. Good night.
I hear there's a grave in the woods round.
You mean where they buried that mad woman? They say on some nights her ghost wanders the woods. But you'll find the grave when you head up to the woods and keep some way off to the right from the stream. It's hard enough to see in daylight. If it's dark, you're sure to get lost.
Thanks. I'm sure I'll find it.
If I were you, may the Lord watch over you. What the...
Jeez.
Yeah. This must be it. May she rest in peace, Lord. Yeah. I have everything we need.
Excellent. In that case, I'm ready too.
Let's meet after dark at the crossroads beyond Ledechko.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Ah, good. You're here. Come with me. Start the exorcism so we can go and get some sleep.
Ziana Kanba, Zikia Kanba, Galubara, Namtabara, Ashakbara, Kikimbara, Ziana Kampa, Zikia Kampa, Galubara, Namtabara. What's that?
Go on. That's what matters. Just keep going.
I think that's enough. The ghost must surely be banished by now. Now let's get out of here before something worse appears. Go and see the widow tomorrow to find out if it helps. I'm going home.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah! Yeah!
Lamb. And I'll need lots of it if I'm to switch it all. Just lamb now. I need to switch the lamb. This is venison. From roe deer. No wonder it's under lock and key. It's roe deer venison for sure. Someone's been poaching. be no problem.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
God preserve you, good night. Can I do something for you?
We cast a spell over Lada's grave. It wasn't for the faint of heart.
Mary, Mother of Mercy. And not even that helped.
What? Do you mean to tell me it was all for nothing?
Only the Lord himself can help me now. I'll need the parish priest.
But why didn't you go and see him right at the start?
What would he think of me? Herbalists have always handled ghosts. But now what other choice do I have? Go and ask him what I can do.
Fine. I'll go and see him. But I swear this is the last thing I'm doing for you.
You have my gratitude. Take a few groschen for everything you've done for me so far. Once the ghost is gone, you'll get more. Good luck then.
God be with you.
There's a widow being haunted by a ghost. Can anything be done about that?
A revenant? Tell me more about it.
For the last few nights, her long-dead neighbour has been paying her a visit in her house. She's tried to drive him out, but neither prayer nor spells have any effect. That's why she's turning to you for help, Father.
In the scripture, it's written that the dead shall rise again only on the day of judgment. I suspect it may be something on the widow's own conscience that's haunting her. Do you know anything more about that?
Well, she says it's the ghost of Alois, a farmer whose wife burned him alive in his own cottage.
My. That would make a soul restless, all right. But I believe there must be something else that's keeping the widow from sleeping. A farmer, a jealous wife. I'd ask the widow if there's not more to it.
My God, that never occurred to me.
How little you know people. Make the widow tell you everything, you'll see. And to make amends with the deceased as well as the Lord, tell her to erect an atonement cross.
A what?
You ask as if you've fallen from the stars. An atonement cross. You often see them along roads. Reminders of reconciliation and forgiven trespasses. Suggest it to the widow and see how she reacts.
Thank you for the advice. It was very helpful.
I shall pray for the poor woman, and I'll be grateful in turn for any donation she may decide to make to the church.
Get damn. Hey. What are you doing here? Is someone there? Huh? Get the hell out of here. There's nothing here for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I could really do with some sleep. I saw the parish priest.
And what did he tell you? Will he come and bless my house with holy water?
A better question is, what haven't you been telling me?
I've already told you everything.
I feel you haven't told me everything. Was there something between you and Alois?
There's no use denying it any longer. I was a widow and his wife Lada. She wasn't the kind of woman who filled her husband's heart with joy. Alois and I grew close.
So, fornication?
If that's what you want to call it. From time to time, we took comfort in each other's arms. Lada found out and began to make a fuss. They fought. You know the rest.
You bear a lot of the responsibility for Alois and Lada's deaths. Now I understand why he haunts you.
I know. I've thought the same thing every single day since he died. Alois left 2 orphans.
I assume his children know nothing about it.
They're already adults. But you're right. They don't know anything. Do you think it would help if I told them everything? That it would bring peace to Alois and he'd stop haunting me?
I think you're on the right path now. Make up for old wrongs. Atone for your sins. Erect a memorial cross.
You're right. I'll go and tell them the truth, however much they despise me afterwards. I'll do anything to get a good night's sleep again. Here's some money. Go to the quarry and order a cross be made.
I'll do that.
Thank you 100 times over. Take care.
Yeah.
God
Is there somewhere I could...
I suppose I could find something. For how long?
Just the one night?
Sure, but
Here you go.
you've got it all to yourself. Nope.
Where do I get...
That's easy. As soon as you go indoors, at the end of the room on the left, there's a door leading to the chamber. Good luck then.
Oh, damn, I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could do with a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Sucker. It's hellishly deep here.
Yeah.
What was that? God save. What can I do for you?
Here's your beer recipe.
Wonderful. Here's your reward.
Any chance of a nice little earner for me?
Not so much for you as for me, but you can help me out. The Sasso cobbler's been making some fancy boots, and he's been given spurs from their lordships to add to them. I'm after those spurs.
But won't that get the cobbler in trouble? Losing their lordship's spurs, just like that.
And is that any of our concern?
No, it isn't.
You can count on it. I'll be right back.
Just don't get yourself caught.
God be with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I must reward you for saving my livelihood. If folk believed the stories, well, I dread to think how it could have ended up.
But the bad stone wasn't even from your quarry.
Still, sometimes words can hurt a man more than a blow from a mace. Here's your reward. You've earned it, lad.
I need to erect an atonement cross. How much does one cost?
10 groschen. We already have one such cross ready, so if you pay now, we can have it sent wherever you want immediately.
Here you are.
What do you think? Will he come again?
I'm sure we've seen the last of him. Oh, I feel so light I could float away at peace with the world.
That's a peace I have yet to find. As you've seen for yourself, shaking off the past isn't easy.
Here's a ring my husband left me. I don't even know where he got it, but it might be worth something. Take it, with my gratitude.
Glad I was able to help.
Thank you, and God be with you.
And with you. I hope you'll finally have peaceful dreams.
Hello again, ladies and
candles from France. And
What do you want? You've no business here.
Wild chickens, for sure.
I'm at your service.
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
You mean for coloring the water? Ah, well...
Well?
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead. Anguished at the tragedy, their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
It is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them?
Who are you? Is someone there?
भाई कैसे भौंक रहा है ये? ग्लिच विलेज है क्या? वही चार को नहीं मिल रहा, नहीं कहाँ मिलेगा।
Hey, who's that?
भाई ऐसा करते हैं, यहाँ से नेक्स्ट स्ट्रीम कंटिन्यू करते हैं। मेरा दिमाग नहीं चल रहा अभी।